So yesterday I was like, here's how you learn 30,000 words. But today some people sent me 60,000 words in English, and I'm like, do not do this, right? Why should you not do this, right? Okay, so anyway, so here's the deck, right? So in order to memorize this word, right, you want to know what jagged means? You got to memorize, well, you got to be able to encounter what's on the front. So in this case, it's just the word as it's written. And then on the back you have the meaning, and you're associating it with this arbitrary image of like jagged mountains. It's actually way more information for your brain to learn than to just learn what jagged means in context. So probably should have planned this before I did this, but uh so basically I'm gonna pull this up so I can make a drawing. I could just draw it with paper. Like on Interstellar, you know where they put the pen? Is that Interstellar? One of the space movies, right? They put the pen through the paper. That's really cool, right? Okay. Uh, so basically, I should get to the point. The point is, you need to be able to encounter the word in a lot of contexts, but the actual meaning of the word is actually very simple, small, and like a vague, kind of a vague thing, right? So what I want to draw is a graph, like in the math sense of a graph, directed graph, a DAG, right? So here's our DAG. So here's like whatever 4 or 5 contexts that are different for the word, and then here's the word, right? So then we have our little lines, and they go whatever. They go over here. They go over there. All right. So this is like how a word is actually learned by someone who learned the language through input, right? So a native speaker, or someone who whatever does input, right? So we got all these lines. One more, please. All right. All right, so there we go. All right, so here's our word. Word's jagged. So we got like whatever, jagged's over here, and then we got our text was over here. And so the word means, I don't know, it's like the written word, and then we have like whatever other contexts. Maybe one of these contexts is like if you hear the word, or if you see the word written, and it's about like there's certain things jagged could be about, there's other things jagged cannot be about, right? So we have a lot of things on this side and a really small amount. It's like the meaning of jagged over here, right? So the meaning of jagged is really small, and the input to jagged is really big. But if you memorize Anki cards, it's like the meaning, or yeah, the amount of stuff you have to memorize is really big, right? So like there's a lot of stuff over there you gotta memorize, and you only get like one way in, right? You just memorize, and those cards is literally just the word jagged, right? See the word jagged, and I want to go over here. Written word jagged. Okay, and then here you have the meaning. Bam. So this is why you should not memorize 60,000 words in Anki. It's still good to memorize some words in Anki, right? Because you can draw some of these, you know, you can make a few associations with Anki, and it's better than knowing nothing. But it's not what we want, right? What we want is this graph on the left where we have lots of inputs and a very simple thing in your brain that you memorized, right? So like you kind of know what jagged means because you've seen it in freaking everywhere, and everything is attached to that idea, like in the graph. So this is why you should not do what I said yesterday. This is why I'm not going to do what I said yesterday, because that is not smart. But it's still good to do some, right? So there's been people for languages they learn like 5 words a day, 10 words a day, maybe even like 20 words a day. And that kind of makes sense. Those things make sense. But If you learn 100 words a day or 300 words a day, and then you're spending 4 hours or 2 hours or an hour going through all that Anki, I really question if this is what you want to be doing with your time, is creating this complex memory of a word associated with basically just one version of that word. So another thing that you don't want to do is have the same problem twice, right? That's twice as bad. So if you... Here, text please. Okay. How do you move this? There we go. All right, so here it's like, oh, I also have another card. It's just the audio of the word jagged. Explain to me how this is better, right? This is actually worse, right? Because now we did twice the work. I guess it's a little bit better. If it's the same card, whatever, it's the same information on the back. So, okay, so it's a little bit better. But it's still not quite what we want, right? Whenever we encounter the word jagged in any context, we want to just know what it means. But now we basically just have two instead of one, and it took double the work. So this is also not a great solution. But, you know, so, yeah, I mean, I guess maybe it is better to have double-sided cards and do a really small amount. I'm not really sure, though. Maybe it's better to do... I guess what matters is, do you spend less time if you have doubled cards like this? So like on the back, so like you flip the sides and then you look at the back. But I think it takes the same amount of time as if you just had one, and since you're not really getting a great... basically, Anki is really bad at building a variety of ways of accessing the meaning of the word. So you probably shouldn't try to use it for that, because it would be really bad, right? Like if we wanted 5 different ways of encountering jagged to remember it, that would require 5 cards. It'd take 5 times as long. So you might as well just do 1 card per word using whatever method of cards you like, or maybe 2 if you have to, right? Like if like in Japanese writing or Chinese character writing, maybe you want one for the character so you can learn how to read, or maybe you want one so you can learn how to write, because it's not really about language. It's just about how literacy works, right? So this is why you should not memorize 60,000 cards in Anki. Please don't do that. So this is my opinion. I've never shared my opinion with you. So how about that? Okay, bye.